with a woman. So permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to now formally invite Hajiya Zainab Maina, MFR, FCIA, Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, to please come forward and tell Nigerians what she is doing in that sector. Honorable Minister of Women Affairs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother Labaran. Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Mapu, my younger brother, the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, Barrister Inua Abdul Qadir, also my younger brother. The special advisor to Mr. President on documentation, special advisor to Mr. President on gender, special advisor to Mr. President, my sister of ethics. Permanent Secretary is here present, Acting Director General, National Center for Women Development, and all the directors of both ministries. Development partners and civil society here present. I specifically recognized my constituency, the National Council of Women Societies. The media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I thank God Almighty for giving us the opportunity yet again today to come and address Nigerians, to tell them what we have done under the directives and leadership of our formidable President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR for the past 2 years. I'm very delighted to welcome you all to the 2013 platform of the Ministerial platform of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, which is part of the activities lined up to commemorate the midterm anniversary of President Goodluck Jonathan, as I earlier mentioned. I thank God Almighty again for this great privilege. I thank you for making time to share our experiences, assured as we are that through you, the generality of our people will get to know of the modest strides we have made over the past 2 years in our bid to contribute to the advancement of women, children, persons with disability, the elderly, as well as other vulnerable groups whom we are privileged to serve. In particular, I wish to thank my colleague, my younger brother, the Minister of Information, under whose auspices this briefing is holding. General overview. The Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has the unique responsibility of addressing issues and concerns of about 70% of Nigeria's population that occupy the low portion of the economic ladder, which include women, children, persons with disabilities, the elderly. And if there is one aspect of governance over which there is overwhelming national consensus, in which the Jonathan administration has excelled in the past 2 years, it is the integration of women in national development. This is because all the policies and programs of the present administration, the issues of affirmative action, gender mainstreaming, equity and balance are most significant. This is in view of the fact that in all the 100 years of Nigerian corporate existence, it has never witnessed the monumental visibility and inclusion of women in governance and decision-making as it has in the past 2 years, like Labaran Makon said. Indeed, I make bold to say that what President Jonathan did for the Nigerian women in just a span of 2 years has superseded by far what other Nigerian leaders did within 98 years of leading our nation. Living up to his campaign promise to that effect, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has raised the number of women holding decision-making positions in government to an unprecedented level. We have witnessed the appointment of 13 female ministers, 5 special advisors, 10 female ambassadors, 11 female permanent secretaries, 16 female judges of Federal High Court, 16 female judges of a Court of Appeal, led by a woman, 3 female judges of Supreme Court, 6 female judges of National Industrial Court, acting President Court of Appeal, and the Chief Justice of the Federation. Undoubtedly, these appointments have set the stage for the attainment of the Millennium Development Goals, target number 3 on gender equity and women empowerment, and also laid a solid foundation for transforming Nigeria into one of the top 20 economies of the world by the year 2020. Establishment of gender units in all MDS. Even more significant is the commitment of the administration to leave a permanent legacy on affirmative action in public life by mainstreaming gender in the Federal Civil Service. As a practical demonstration to this commitment, the Federal Executive Council approved for the establishment of gender units in all the ministries, departments and MDAs, and the appointments of directorate cadre to head the units. You will recall that in my briefing in May last year, I stated that when fully operational, these units will ensure the reflection of gender perspectives in the budget system of all MDAs, as well as incorporate gender components in national accounting system, recruitments and appointments. To ensure the full take-up of this vitally important aspect of gender mainstreaming, we are currently liaising with the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation and the Federal Civil Service Commission for the creation of appropriate cadre and the appointment of relevant officers to coordinate the activities of gender units. We come to gender budgeting. As you can see on this picture, myself and the Honorable Minister of Finance, who is also the Coordinating Minister of Economic, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. A very remarkable achievement by the administration within the period under review is the bold initiative to commence gender budgeting with 5 pilot federal ministries to include agriculture, health, communication, technology, water resources, and works. Beginning with the 2013 budget, the total sum of 3 billion naira has been earmarked to cater for the gender-related components of the budget in the affected ministries. Already we have started implementing. We have signed memorandum of understanding with these 5 ministries, and we have started implementing the program. And during 2013 budget, 3 billion, as had been said, is allocated to each of these ministries, and of course we are monitoring as it is our project, and already work has already commenced. In our efforts to ensure the implementation of policies and programs by all the tier government or other stakeholders that government and other that represent Nigeria's regional and global commitments to the welfare and development of women, children and persons with disabilities, and the elderly, we adopted advocacy strategic tool. High-level advocacy. A very important aspect of our advocacy project is the commencement of high-level advocacy visits at the federal level to the National Assembly, ministries, departments, and agencies, all in an effort to ensure multifaceted approaches to holistically tackle the various challenges and problems confronting our mandate groups. At this juncture, I am happy to report that our advocacy both to the Senate President and the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives have brought about renewed vigor with which the National Assembly is now dealing with bills, especially relating to women persons with disabilities. Our visit to the Governor of Central Bank has also brought about the initiation of favorable policies that will enable women have easier access to loan and other financial support from commercial banks to boost their economic activities. Of particular interest is the recent directive by the CBN that as from 2014, 30% of board directors of banks must be women. While banks have been compelled to publish positions allocated to women and men in their organizations. We are also monitoring that. As a result of our engagement with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Labor, Saving Farming Equipment implements for women farmers will soon be introduced, while capital support will be provided to women farmers, cooperatives, and groups in an effort to enhance their productions and increase farm output. In the same vein, our advocacy to the Federal Ministry of Health has resulted in new partnership in the areas of maternal and child mortality, control and treatment of breast and cervical cancers, HIV/AIDS and malaria control, but popularizing the use of primary health care facilities in the rural areas will also be intensified going forward. In addition, our visit to the Inspector General of Police has resulted in increased collaboration in addressing rampant cases of rape, violence against women, prostitution, hawking by children, and child trafficking. Similarly, additional gender desks are being established in police stations across the country to specifically address gender-based violence. This is after the desk officers undergo specialized training program to equip them with skills and competencies in handling such cases properly. In recognition of advocacy as our greatest tool of engagements, we undertake visits to the states of the Federation, where we engage the state executive, the legislature, traditional rulers, non-governmental organizations, and community-based organizations to seek for legal and administrative reforms and policies on the advancement of women, children, persons with disability, and other vulnerable members of the society. We paid particular attention to the need for state governments to introduce appropriate reforms and policies towards the reduction of maternal and child mortality, increase budgetary allocation to female reproductive health, women empowerment, child development, and welfare of persons with disability, and of course the elderly. In addition to establishing partnership with the state governments, we also visited and contributed aids, appliances, relief materials to women and children hospital, children's home, old people's home, BBF centers, and persons with disabilities. We also met and interacted with our mandate groups with a view to listening to their peculiar problems as the first step towards planning evidence-based interventions. Within the period, we visited Adamawa, Lagos, Oyo, Kaduna, Ekiti, Kogi, Jigawa, and Kano State. In fact, tomorrow we are setting out to Bayelsa and Delta State. At this juncture, I'm very pleased to acknowledge the positive responses of the state governments we have visited so far, as all of them have already started free antenatal and postnatal care for pregnant women and children below the ages of 5 in an effort to contribute to the reduction of maternal and child mortality. They have also started executing positive policies, programs, and projects on women, children, persons with disabilities. There is now a new vigor across the states on increased participation of women in governance and decision-making process. Policy dialogue with development partners. Another platform we adopted was the introduction of a consultative meeting and policy dialogue with our development partners with a view to solicit this picture. I received the team from the World Bank. We had a very fruitful interaction with them, and a plan is underway for us to start program with them. The idea here is to rekindle their interest and to focus their interventions in the new policy direction of the present administration along the path of national transformation. This has been rewarding as these partners have identified with us in different areas, and this, we are optimistic, will continue. You can all see in the pictures the Forum of Female Ministers and Special Advisors to Mr. President. This strategy was adopted by me on a bid to scale up response on affirmative action, gender mainstreaming, and gender-focused budgeting, and takeoff of gender units. The objective of creation a forum is to further provide Nigerian women in governance and decision-making position with a platform upon which they could meet and share ideas, compare notes on their experiences in governance, and strategize properly in meeting the challenges of gender mainstreaming on issues in national development. Expectedly, the forum has added value to mainstreaming gender in governance and ensures the success of transformation agenda across the nation. In fact, my colleagues are very much supportive of my programs, and in most cases we work together. They advise me on so many issues and give me maximum support. Women empowerment. Empowerment of women. My ministry recognizing the fact that majority of our women are very poor, or all the women are poor, especially our sisters in the rural area, has worked hard in collaboration with other partners to put in place mechanisms to boost women entrepreneurial activities as well as encourage skills acquisition, especially for rural women. Consequently, interventions for the economic empowerment of women were carried out within the reporting period in the following areas. We have the skill acquisition centers all over the Federation, and we have completed 24 of the skill acquisition centers and equipped them. Some of them are, most of them are waiting for commissioning. As you can see, the example of the skill acquisition. Each skill acquisition center is expected to train at least 500 women and persons with disability, including the persons with disability, per year, to reduce unemployment and associated social vices in the society, increase income generation through job creation for women, and assist in reduction youth restiveness, especially at the grassroots. As you know, they said, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. The ministry operates two major microcredit schemes, namely Business Development Fund, which we call BUDFO, then Women Fund for Economic Empowerment, which we call WOFI. BUDFO is in collaboration with Bank of Industry. This renders financial and technical support to Nigerian women entrepreneurs with prospective business development, but constrained by lack of access to credit facilities from the conventional financial institutions. Within the period under review, a total of 56 women projects have received about 82 million naira from the revolving loan of scheme. WOFI is in collaboration with Bank of Agriculture and the states. This provides group credit facilities to women cooperatives in rural areas. This is specifically meant for rural areas. Within the last 2 years, about 5,500 women groups, cooperatives have received 27.2 million naira, out of which over 6,000 jobs in animal fattening, poultry, farming, and trading were created during the period. 28 states of the Federation are participating in this scheme, out of which 12 states have contributed their counterpart fundings in the sum of 103 million to work. The two schemes are revolving facilities with interest rate of 10%. Other initiatives of empowerment of women include distributed skill acquisition equipment to VVF centers in Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra State, Bayelsa, Borno, Delta, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Kwara State, Sokoto, Ondo, Yobe, and Zamfara State. These include irrigation pumping machines, grinding machines, sewing machines, commercial phone booth accessories, clothing, and other materials necessary for training and commercial activities. Support for 5 NGOs to the tune of 5 million to establish various economic ventures and in turn employed over 1,000 vulnerable women at grassroots. About 2,000 vulnerable women, including women in distress, women with disabilities, widows, victims of HIV/AIDS were granted aid and provided with empowerment equipment such as grinding machines, hair drying machine, tailoring, and embroidery machines. We established 6 cottage industries to support women engaged in the processing of farm products. These projects are located in Abia, Ekiti, Cross Rivers, Delta, and Sokoto states. And they were established in line with activities of cooperative groups that specialize in different areas of production and availability of raw materials. Signing of Memorandum of Understanding with Nigerian Capital Development Bank of a development fund for the implementation of National Grassroots Economic Empowerment Scheme as part of effort to reduce poverty and unemployment in the country, especially for rural women. Already a technical team with membership from NCDF and the ministry is currently working towards the timely takeoff of the fund. We reported last year that an interministerial committee on women in agribusiness between my ministry and Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development was constituted to mainstream gender in the agricultural sector. This is with a view of raising the assess bar of women and in agricultural assets and to situate them to benefit from the program on the Nigerian inventive-based risk-shaking system for agricultural lending. I am now glad to report that women in agribusiness have started enjoying from the support being provided to them by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in the areas of extension services, seeds and seedlings, fertilizer, and other farming inputs. In addition, local production of women-friendly farming implements and processing machines to enhance productions will soon be available for women farmers. Development of new policies and review of existing policies. In recognition of our role to provide the policy framework to guide our stakeholders and to integrate our issues and concerns into their sectors, we are developing new policies and reviewing some existing ones as follows. The ministry has prepared a draft social welfare policy in Nigeria aimed at improving the welfare of the society's most vulnerable and disadvantaged groups, notably the poor, families in distress, older persons, discharged offenders, destitute, and the needy. Was developed in 2012 and is currently being validated. Gender policy for the Nigeria Police was launched in September 2012. This is in collaboration with the Nigerian Police as a necessary tool to engender the police, as well as provide the necessary guide towards proper handling of gender-based violence, which is the incident now. As you can see on the picture, the day of the launching. The ministry participated in the review of 1999 Constitution to ensure that gender perspectives are incorporated in the reviewed document. Above all, the ministry is currently reviewing its National Gender Policy 2006 and its Strategic Implementation Framework and Plan 2008 to tackle cases of gender concerns and global emerging issues and participation. Women in politics. Women in politics, Nigerian women constitute about half of the population of the country. And I tell you, they participate in politics effectively. But despite their numerical strengths and active participation as campaign agents, mobilizers, and most faithful voters of every election, they have always faced challenges and resistance when efforts were made by them to participate in politics or to be politically empowered. For long, social norms and beliefs had relegated our women to subordinate positions in the nation's political arena. However, today there is increased activism and consequential increasing number of women who aspire for elective office. We recommend the visionary initiative of my president to encourage the increased participation of women in politics, especially in the last 2 years. And of course, the First Lady, who last 2 years have gone out. Within the period under review, we have continued to strengthen our women political mobilization structures to ensure greater increase in the number of women in elective positions. We are currently refocusing the activities of our 6 women zonal political empowerment offices towards identifying resourceful candidates that will contest in subsequent election. We are also currently working with the management of Nigerian Women Trust Fund towards sourcing for additional resources that will support women candidates. The ministry has been working with development partners and other stakeholders towards building the capacities of prospective women candidates in the arts of politicking. The ministry is intensifying advocacy and lobby to states, political party offices, and other stakeholders to canvass for a more favorable climate for women politicians. And we are also in concluding arrangement to resuscitate our 100 women lobby group to swing into action and mobilize support for women for greater participation in readiness for 2015. The ministry, within the period under review, undertook the following intervention to reduce maternal mortality rate in Nigeria. We distributed 2,500 500 mama kits during advocacy visits to various states. We supported the training of specialized health personnel. The ministry conducted research on maternal health and distribution of publications on social causes of maternal death. The ministry distributed 5,000 delivery kits for indigent pregnant women aimed at safer birth delivery. The ministry undertook advocacy and social mobilization campaigns to improve maternal mortality at national and state level. As you can see, where achievements against our key performance indicators, KPIs, is continued, with the number of women that have been supported and number of healthcare support we have given and other BBF cases that ministry supported. Gender-based violence. Gender-based violence, most especially against violence against women and girls, is a subject matter of human rights and liberties. This has taken center stage in global discourse with a significant determination for action to end it. Government policies adopted by different agencies to combat all forms of violence against women and girls include the National Gender Policy, which I have just mentioned, which is going under review, and the Child Rights Act, which has been passed by 23 states. The draft of Sexual Harassment Policy for Educational Institutions by Federal Ministry of Education, the policy prohibiting sexual harassment in the workplace by Federal Ministry of Labor. Elimination of gender violence against women, against persons by Legislative Advocacy Coalition, and the police and gender policy by the Nigerian police. My ministry is overwhelmed with a series of violent cases requiring urgent legal attention. As such, we are currently working with the Federal Ministry of Justice, Human Rights Commission, FIDA, RAPA, NEPTIP, and other civil society groups and non-governmental organizations to ensure the passage of appropriate legislation to address this unwholesome violation of human rights. I'm, however, delighted to report that our collective efforts have started yielding positive results. The successful passage of violence against persons prohibition bill by National Assembly now awaiting Mr. President's assent, and the gender and equal opportunity bills awaiting passage by the National Assembly. Participation in the United Nations Development Program on gender issues, support for the successful election of country's candidates, Mrs. Theodora Obi Nwanko, into the UN Committee of Experts, that is CEDAW, for 4 years, and of Ms. Ekaite Judith Umo as Rehabilitation International Vice President, Africa. Shelter for victims of violence, domestic violence. Within the period under review, the ministry commenced full services at the Kurudu Center for female victims of domestic violence in FCT. The place has been fully equipped and adequate facilities put in place to ensure maximum usage. A vehicle has also been given to the shelter to take victims to the hospital and to police stations. We also adequate training facilities to income generating activities is being provided to ensure that the victims learn skills while they are in the shelter, and as they go out, at least they will have a skill and trade for them to earn their living. Bilateral relation. This is the picture of the minister with my colleagues from the Commonwealth country. We just finished the meeting. visits of UN Executive Director to Nigeria. You may recall that early this year we were privileged to host the Executive Director of UN Women, Ms. Michelle Bachelet. She visited this country and stayed for about 3 days. This is the first time we ever have somebody of her caliber visiting Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the few countries that hosted her in Africa. She is now in her country campaigning to become the president of Chile. I want this group, this audience to pray for her to succeed. We want to have more presidents in the world. These are all the pictures of her visit. This was Mr. President when she paid him a courtesy call in the presidential villa with all the female ministers. As I said earlier, we are always together and we are in support of each other. She visited the only pottery place we have in Bushafa Pottery Center in the FCT. And last month, I had the privilege to accompany Mr. President on a state visit in South Africa, where I signed a memorandum of understanding with my counterpart in South Africa. And we did that so that we will have bilateral relationship with South Africa. We signed to work together to address issues of women political and economic empowerment, women in agriculture, tourism, oil and gas, and health. Very soon, the president, my counterpart, is visiting with some women from South Africa to come and learn what we are doing in Nigeria, and thereafter we will also visit in South Africa. These are all the pictures, and we had also there is signing of a memorandum of understanding with my colleague in Niger and that of Gambia. It's also on the pipeline. EGDC support for Nigerian women. The ECOWAS Gender Center, whose mandate is to strengthen women economic empowerment within the ECOWAS member state, has trained some selected Nigerian women into agricultural processing and handicraft within the period under review. We had about 50 of them trained by ECOWAS. We also had a visit from the Polish embassy with some Polish women and men who came into the country and are desiring to also sign a memorandum of understanding so that we will work together. Within the period under review, we have the first National Women Retreat on peace, development, and national transformation. It took place in Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. As a follow-up action, the first national retreat was held, which was convened by the Office of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Ministry, and the Akwa Ibom State government. We are now collaborating with wives of the governors, working as peace advocates, State of Ministry of Women Affairs, women-focused NGOs, as a result of that retreat. As you can see, the picture of the First Lady who led the retreat with the wife of Vice President, myself, of course, the wife of Akwa Ibom State Governor. In the year 2012, in April, during the International Women's Day celebration, we had a mentorship program to commemorate the International Women's Day. The First Lady was supposed to be the special guest of honor, but was actively, effectively represented by the wife of Vice President. The program was launched, and it was designed to mentor selected young girls to enable them have access to knowledge and training on a range of issues. The pilot and at the recently concluded National Council on Women Affairs. As we say, what happened to Nigeria women this year, during this administration, has never happened before. I'm happy to report here that, before, when you see women in military, they are only there as nurses, only there as cleaners, only there as clerks. They have never been mainstreamed in the real army military work. When Mr. President came, he directed and approved that young women should be enrolled in NDA from the university, like their male counterparts. And as you can see in the picture, these young ladies are there and are doing extremely well. I was there during the convocation with my counterpart, the Minister of Defense. The young girls are doing very well. We saw their hostel. The government has done quite a lot to make them comfortable and protect them and create an enabling environment for them to relax and allow themselves to train and become full soldiers like their male counterpart. We are very, very happy. Indeed, there is no better way to conclude against strides of the administration on women empowerment affirmative action within the last 2 years than to acknowledge with great pride and admission of these young girls. I've been told to round up. Child development, as you can see, of course, as I said, my ministry is Women Affairs and Child Development. So much has been achieved in the ministry with effort to carry out our mandate to provide an enabling environment for the total being and development of Nigerian child to realize their potentials through advocacy and strategy, and mobilization, social mobilization has continued. As I mentioned, there is the issue of Child Rights Acts. So far, 23 states have passed the Child Rights Acts and 13 have already implemented. The ministry, in collaboration with USAID and MDG's office, has developed a national priority agenda for vulnerable children in Nigeria. This is an 8-year strategic framework to guide the multi-sectoral implementation of objectives and strategies of Vision 2020 on the Nigerian child. This is with a view to holistically address all issues and concerns of children. In the ministry, the Child Department has also created what we call Children's Parliament. And this Children's Parliament sits about 3 times a year on special occasions. This will give the children opportunity to say their mind, to take a decision that affects their lives and tell the government. The last one we had during the Children's Day celebration, they had a sitting and they told us what policy and advice they want us to follow and the government to do for them. And of course, we have taken it and we have sent it to Mr. President. And I assure you that all what they want will be approved by Mr. President, because he is a father, he's a gender-sensitive man, and he believes in Nigerian children, and he believes in women, Nigerian women. We have a project that has started many years back and was abandoned. That is the National Children's Resource Center in Abuja. I am here to report that this year, His Excellency, Mr. President, has approved that the project should continue. Right now, he has approved in our budget and given 1 billion naira, and already the contractors has been mobilized back to the site, and work has started in earnest. And by the grace of God, by next year, we are going to have the edifice. When completed, the center will be, in addition to housing the National Children's Parliament, serve as a one-stop referral point on all issues and concerns on Nigerian children. About 600 persons with disability have been assisted, 115 persons with visually impaired persons benefited from skill acquisition. The income support and skill acquisition training program on soap making, poultry, fishery, tie and dye was held in November 2012 for 72 older persons from 13 local governments in Ebonyi State, and the sum of 50,000 naira take-off grant was given to each of these participants. Total of 570 persons, social workers, have been trained in the Federal School of Social Work, MNA, Enugu State, and 100 students admitted for the same program in 2013. The group of the 15 regular National Council of Women Affairs took place in Lokoja last 2 weeks ago, as you can see, and it was successfully hosted and attended by the First Lady of Federal Republic of Nigeria. The International Widows' Day was also done, was celebrated. I've been told my time is up. The ministry has only one parastatal under it, that is the National Center of Women Development. The center is doing very well, giving skills and training to young women and men. And last week, it had graduated 1,900 students, and the First Lady was also inducted into the Hall of Fame. As you can see in the pictures, if the pictures are being shown, the center under technical cooperation with Japan International Corporation called JICA, trained instructors of women development centers and provided tools and equipment as models for the state to replicate. In addition, the center successfully carried out the need assessment exercise under Women Economic Empowerment Project in 6 local government areas of Maradun, Talata, Mafara, Bakura, Gumi, Bukuyum, and Anka in Zamfara State, Zamfara West Senatorial Zone. The research was hinged on the successful story of National Center for Women Development Project of activation of women development centers in all the states of the Federation. ICT training, the center into ICT training young men and women, various skills. I hope they are showing. gentlemen, I cannot end this presentation without expressing our sincere gratitude to the individuals and institutions that have provided solid platform of support for us. I wish to express our deep appreciation to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the gender-compliant President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, for the excellent support he has given and continued to give on all issues relating to the advancement of women, children, and vulnerable groups in the society. Indeed, we are very lucky to have Mr. President, that even in the council as it is now, everybody will say, it's enough, but he will say, women affairs, how are our women, how are our children? And sometimes if I don't talk, Mr. President will always come out and speak to me and ginger me up to speak up. Sometimes it is difficult for a woman to speak about women issues and everybody will burst out laughing. But he never laughs. He always takes our issues very serious and take it to heart. We are very, very grateful and we pray that God will help him. But we must also recognize the relentless efforts of the mother of the nation, Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Dame Patience Goodluck Jonathan, for making it all happen for women. Her Excellency has indeed been very, very instrumental to the present improved status have been possible without the cooperation and the support of our media, ever reliable media, ever supportive. We thank you very much. We remain eternally grateful for your ready support and forbearance at all times, even as we look forward to continued cordial relationship with everybody. I thank all the stakeholders for your partnership as we make efforts to improve the lives of the generality of our citizenry by empowering women, persons with disability. You know, if you empower women, you empower the whole nation. But if you empower man, you empower him for himself. But for women, for everybody. And for the elderly and creating better conditions that will enable our children to grow to be true leaders of tomorrow. I thank you.